Or what? I got what's going on. Main thing. Give me a moment to check to make sure I am not completely boomering this whole thing again because I'm like given 30 minutes where you're talking and you're all types of garbled and somebody may or may not be able to hear you. Okay. Okay, I'm garbled. Hold on. I'm going to change my stuff. All right. See, this is why we check.
All right. Original. Let's see if this is better. Okay. For some reason, the fancy Mac accessory with a Mac computer doesn't seem to want to work as well. Okay, I can hear myself. All right, there we go. All right. So, technical issue number one, temporarily solved. Okay. Don't regard any random savage crickets that might be in the background and or my laundry there. But today we're going to be talking about MIT's Human Augmentation Lab, and I was first introduced to this from actually Addy. He was, I believe, one of the mentors or assistants at the Wolfram Summer School this past year. Long story short, he has a username on the internet. I was familiar with the username. I saw a person that had a booth at the augmentation lab with that username, yet I still didn't know who it was. Um, okay, spoiler alert, it was Addy. So we're going to get into that, but so basically I first came into awareness of that from Addy and then Phileas from the Wolfram Summer School. He had put on, he was one of the mentors, put on some of the classes there. Actually gave me, I think, some English tea at one point as a bit of a joke there before getting to know me a little bit better. But basically, we went down to the Hacker House outside MIT's campus. And okay, I'll give you the full story because apparently Stephen Wolfram had just started his story time with Stephen. So he starts going into the deep lore, so to speak, of his life. So essentially, the summer school program is actually over. It had finished at the night before on Thursday, and then Friday was basically people are finishing up, they're checking out and everything, because people are coming there from all over the world. Okay, I actually went back there to say hi and bye to some folks that I'd come to know there and had some fascinating discussions and learned from. And then at one point we attended the high schoolers. God, some of those kids are freaking brilliant. One of the kiddos there, I forget who it was, but they essentially ended up proving one of Stephen Wolfram's conjectures from A New Kind of Science. During the couple of weeks they were at the Wolfram High School summer program, they proved one of Stephen's conjectures. I think that's awesome. Uh, but basically, we were watching those, and then we went to grab some dinner down at the cafeteria and everything. Because to be fair, most of the costs from the Wolfram Summer School is probably the meal plan and actually the dormitories, the insurance, all that jazz and everything. I realistically probably could save myself a bunch of dough aside from that. Um, but basically, what ended up happening is at some point I was chatting with some of the folks from the uh, the Wolfram Institute, folks like Dugan, and I think we had Wilhelm there and stuff. Actually, I think Wilhelm didn't actually go, but we had some other fascinating conversations there. Hey, Jelly Duck. Hey, well, I don't know about legend, but there's plenty of legends out there. I'm gonna go with Godzilla as a true legend, especially in 1984, because the quote was, "The legend is reborn." To be fair, technically never died. Uh, Post hoc adjustments there. I'm sorry, I'm a big Godzilla fan. Uh, but basically, people are talking, and it's like, oh, what, you guys want to go down to like MIT's Human Augmentation Lab? So I'm like, Human Augmentation Lab? I'm thinking like cyborgs and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, not really my big thing. I'm not like a huge cyberpunk fan, but I'm like, if you guys think it's cool, I'm like, oh, let's go check it out. So we got down to check it out, and essentially, Addie was driving us. And as we're driving along there, eventually, for the first time ever, like, um, the the turkey that you may know from like Thanksgiving fame that's often dressed up, so to speak, and eaten, and very delicious. Again, I think we could do with less tasty murder, but that's personal opinion. Um, but essentially, it's the first time ever I've ever seen a turkey in downtown Boston. Like I've been noticing, like in the greater suburbs, yeah, you see some turkeys around. You're like, 20, 30 miles out from Boston. You might see a gaggle. You might see like 10, 12 turkeys. And okay, for somebody that for the first time seeing an actual wild turkey up close, those things are freaking dinosaurs. Because number one, something about seeing like a 30 something pound bird all of a sudden fly like 6 feet in the air to get into a low hanging tree branch, and you see what it's holding the tree branch with, its talons, and you're like, that could severely puncture my jugular. I do not want to mess with a turkey. So that was interesting because we literally had a turkey crossing the street in front of us in downtown Boston. So it was literally, why did the turkey cross the road? Because it's good. Uh, but ultimately, we're driving through downtown Boston. All of a sudden, we pull up into some driveway, and we just kind of stop there. And it's like, is this okay? And he's like, oh, get out of the car, get out of the car. So I get out of the car and everything. I'm like, good, is this all right? From somebody that's basically gotten citations in Boston and have been towed before in the greater Boston area, I had some concerns. Long story short, as far as I understand it, it's something MIT basically pays for, like, the rent of the house. It's like, all right, here's some money for rent, some utilities, maybe here's a food stipend. Do amazing things. And there's some brilliant folks there. Like, there were some folks there that were, like, working on, like, coding on different levels. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like, these people, like, seemed like from movies and stuff. It's like, literally, give them some techno music, and they will literally write, like, entire programs. It was fascinating. I saw interesting things, everything from, like, a dating app where your friends could try to play matchmaker and earn points, and it was literally a Candy Crush combined with Tinder. I'm like, this idea is so absurd it might actually work. Where can I download it? Um, and then there were other things like getting like local weather updates, more tailored to, or like rather than there's a hurricane or like tornadoes coming, it's like, all right, it's going to be ridiculously hot. Maybe you have some sensitive skin. Maybe you want to prepare for it. So, like, there were like a lot of logical things, and a lot of these things were utilizing large language models as their bases to basically take things that we could normally do as human beings that may require a certain number of steps, and humans are busy. We're not always thinking about, and try to shorten them and try to make human beings' lives easier. There was also the concept of what would happen if you perhaps were to upload consciousness into some, I don't know, synthetic body or something like that, which seems eerily akin to some of the plot line from Alien Earth, which is on FX, I believe, or Hulu. I've been watching that a bit. Is it a perfect series? No. Is some of it kind of meh? Yeah. I like xenomorphs and stuff. I also don't usually, I don't know, maybe I haven't consumed a lot of good media, or I'm just like, I don't know. But okay. But ultimately, I went to the hacker house. We hung out a bunch over there. And then they had said they were actually going to have like their actual presentation, basically this past weekend. So this is going to be the story of what happened when I went to MIT's Human Augmentation Lab, the actual official lab, not just like the hacker house where they were kind of like allowing people to live and do cool things. We actually went into like their the MIT Science Building, which was really cool down there, down by I think it was the Charles. So let me actually get to our friends in the chat. So yes, I see we have our Jelly Duck. We have the we got some violence in the chat. It's the Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Human Augmentation Lab. Whatever the heck that means. Long story short is they give you the opportunity. It's like, all right, would you like to present something rather than just get a ticket? Because a ticket at an event and stuff, and they were providing food and stuff. So, all right, pay some money to help folks out. All right. I didn't think I had anything to present at all because I don't have anything for like human augmentation. Long story short is one of the first posters I went up to was actually a physics-based poster talking about very interesting, more recently identified phenomena within like particle traps and certain behaviors that's like this doesn't really seem to be as explored. So I'm like, oh, I could have paid the extra $60 and I don't know, present this or something else or whatever. I showed up late anyway, so I missed most of the talks and everything. Like Phileas was telling me, there was a talk that I totally need to catch up on. I think, hopefully they recorded it. It was like monks with laptops, and I'm like, to be fair, my Twitter bio I think now says physics monk on it, so it's like okay, I guess that fits. But yes, basically it was. I don't want to say a trade show, but a place for folks from either MIT's Hacker House or some other folks that actually traveled from across the country to share different ideas about things they were working on. A lot of really interesting folks, and I actually ran across a number of folks that I had either met before from like the Wolfram Summer School or other outings or whatnot, as well as a couple of folks that I know from the internet that I ran into for the first time there, including Mr. Tyler Goldstein and Mr. Kurt Jaimungles. So that was it was interesting chatting with some folks. Hey, Punk Waddle. I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't know either. Part of me was like, is is there gonna be like a young Tony Stark here that's literally like forging forging with like, I don't know, a playset, a hammer, a stapler, a potato, and some Play-Doh, like an Iron Man outfit? I don't know. It's some of those people there are so smart. It's like that might not even surprise me. Uh that's interesting. I have no idea the dynamics between turkeys and chickens. I have no idea if they'd get along, if they would try to like fight each other or something. That's actually something I've never. Oh yeah, dude, be careful, be careful. It literally. When I was a kid, my parents got me a replica Deinonychus claw. So for those of you that might be big dinosaur fans like myself, the Velociraptor essentially is a larger Deinonychus. It's supposed, I don't know, maybe it's completely changed right now, but the Deinonychus was like a smaller Velociraptor. And then you get all the way up to like the Utah Raptor, which is like Big Daddy on like 19 feet long or something like that. I think they featured that. I haven't watched a lot of the recent Jurassic Park movies. They may have featured it there, but basically, I had this little Deinonychus claw, and it was like 3 or 4 inches long, the curved little sickle. And when I saw that turkey's claws, I'm like, that's immediately what it reminded me of. I'm like, okay, I can see why people say these things are dinosaurs because it reminded me of that. But uh, oh yeah, Punk Waddle. It's you got to be careful down there. Not only could you get a parking ticket. I mean, I'm not sure how if turkeys are bullies or not. So I'm not sure how they respond to penguins. All right, all right, absolutely. It's good to see you. Where are we at? Where are we at? Yes, there's. Oh, seem they get along. Oh, see, that's interesting because sometimes you'll see different things. Like, I have no idea if this is true or not. At one point, somebody was they were attempting to feed a goat to a tiger, and then the tiger allegedly became friends with the goat or something. I have no idea. Again, I stand by. I think animals are like people. All different personalities. Some jive better with others. Okay, so let's actually get to the human augmentation lab and some of the things that were there. So, I ran into where are these? I should have it. Okay, I think. All right. So let's go through some of these. All right. So this first photo, I have to share these on the Discord server too. It's been requested. But this was actually the first poster I came across here. As you can see, like at any good conference where you're not supposed to mess up the walls, attaching posters is a pain in the butt, and very often we resort to the standard cure-all duct tape or something. But see, this is the thing where I'm like, I see this, I'm like, oh, maybe I could have brought something, but laser cooling radioactive molecules to probe new physics. And then there's a term in here. Basically, they just started calling things Rax molecules rather than saying, what's it? It's basically it's shortening the acronym rather than having to say what was it, retroreflected lasers, blah blah blah. And then there was a term in here that I have the full poster somewhere else, but I'm like, all right, this is really cool. I think this gentleman, maybe was he from Caltech? No, excuse me. Duh, it says right there, the University of Toronto. So he had come down to present some of this. I was fascinating. I do need to look into it more because it's like there's a lot of times like I oftentimes like I might be up late, like kind of East Coast time, and I'll catch like the early morning lectures from the ICTS. That's basically India's Institute for Advanced Study, one of their like basically their premier scientific institute. And I'll listen to an experimentalist, and all of a sudden it's like they're talking about, well, we're doing things, and then at this particular regime, all of a sudden, like, we saw like a 20 times increase in like some energy output or so, like a massive ping somewhere for this particular frequency or range or whatever it might be. It's like, we have no idea why this is the case. It's like, okay, that's it. I go back the next day, I'm like, that video doesn't seem to be there anymore. I don't know. It's there's interesting stuff that you run into, and that's why a lot of different things or technologies that may come out might not actually be that surprising. So let's see. Where are some other cool photos here? Let me see. Maybe we'll do the little game of where's Wolfram. All right. So let's do this. I'll go through a few other photos. That guy. All right. So I think I'll just go through these. This will probably be a little bit easier. All right. So remove this guy and let's. Oh, what the heck am I doing? Stop that. There we go. I swear I can host things. So we had this. All right. So we can see. Yeah, it was a nice little thing. It was like up on the 6th floor, and actually, for those. Oh. Let me. Oh, is this not adjusting? Or did I share that wrong? Hold on. Just need to make sure it's showing the whole thing. Or maybe it's just cutting it off. Is it too big? Oh, no, I used the wrong photo. Burp. So, interesting thing is, they had a little outdoor area. Apparently, I think I read it after the fact. The little outdoor deck was supposed to be if you got like a fancy ticket, a VIP ticket, or spend an extra, I don't know, $40, $60. I just walked outside. Nobody really get. To be fair, I showed up. I had bought a ticket. I showed up late. Nobody checked anything. I never even got an ID. I just walked in and just started hanging out and talking with people. So it's whatever. But for those of you familiar with the greater Boston area, that's the sicko sign. Okay. We solved a mystery earlier because we went out right around dusk. And somebody was like, do you hear screaming? And I'm just kind of taken aback. I'm like, screaming? What are you talking about? So I'm looking across the street. I'm like, all right, somewhere over here, there's like a building below where you can see over here. And I see like the HVAC system on the top of the building. So I'm like, well, maybe if that's kicking on, that might make some weird sounds or something. He's like, no, I think I heard like screaming in the distance. And I look out there and I'm like, wait, I see the sicko sign. I'm like, oh, well, basically the Charles River is like right here. We're just up a couple stories, and the sicko sign is literally fastened onto Fenway Park there. That's why they say like the old sicko sign, if you ever hear that. So I'm like, I think there's a Red Sox game going over right there. And I point to the sicko sign. And then, of course, you wait like another like 40 seconds. All of a sudden, yeah, you hear screaming and stuff in the background. It's like, yes, we solved a mystery. Yes. A mystery not even fitting busy town mysteries. Yes. Yes. Somebody that claims to be a physics monk being like, I think it's coming from the baseball game over there. But yes, there was some screaming. Hey, Poindexter, Bose-Einstein condensate. Well, that seems to be the quote unquote the form of matter that takes more of a very wavy nature and seems to kind of act as particle-ish or when things get really cold and really hot, interesting stuff happens. And that's why, like, at least if you're attempting to do physics, and again, I don't have a PhD in physics. I'm not a trained physicist by whatever standard metric you have. Most of the things I learn is just working. I don't know. Well, I did go to the Wolfram summer school. I mean, I did do this little project that's maybe related to Wolfram physics. Basically, I was taking a look at units and I simply just filled in the gaps of what people did, like, I don't know, like 4 years ago, because apparently they set up a system to try to estimate some units. All I did was just fill in the numbers that they didn't from like the Wolfram database, made a crazy assumption that was basically just, I just did the homework. It's program director says, think of it this way. I do that to my calculation. Stephen Wolfram gives me homework. I start reading it. I look at the calculation. I look at the homework. It says flux through a system. This new calculation is flux. It seems to be able to recreate the initial physics project estimates within one magnitude. What if I assumed it was true? So that's all I literally did the most naive things in the world. Um, Again, if there is anything there, that's literally just luck and what other people did before me. But yeah, most of the stuff I've learned is from the internet, from working with Thad. Rick has taught me a bunch of stuff. Casey, my gangster mathematician friend, has really pounded some things home. Jen, Kale, bunch of folks here. I have very limited knowledge. I don't have the answers, but if I can look around and leverage the other smart folks around me, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, it just seems like the logical thing to do. So let's over here. So as far as running into folk, let's see. We have it was interesting because we have our friend friend of the channel, Tyler Goldstein, over here. So it was funny because I'm there and I'm like, okay, I went to that place once. I know Stephen Wolfram's supposed to be there. I heard Kurt might be there. I think Dugan from the Wolfram Institute. So it's like, okay, maybe a couple of folks there. I'm walking in, I start talking to somebody. I walk like 15 more feet. All of a sudden, I run into like Phileas from the summer school. Oh, he's chatting with some gentleman over there, and then he taught me something about how like programs themselves, you apparently can't represent them physically, so to speak. Like you might be able to use physics to model a computer, and that computer might be running a program, but as far as using a physical system to model a program itself, there apparently you can't do that. And I'm like, that just kind of blew my mind. I'm like, what? And I'm thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it. So that was one of the things that I learned. But as I'm going along, all of a sudden I see somebody walking by, and I just kind of give a look, and I'm like, is that Tyler? That looks like Tyler. And all of a sudden he's like walking back, and we kind of just both make eye contact. I'm like, Tyler? He's like, Mames? And we just go up and we hug each other and everything. We got a cool selfie and everything over here. But yeah, no, we got to chat with some folks. Steven was there as well. Let's continue to go through some of these photos. Let's see what else we got. All right. So I think here we go. All right. So this one is going to be be Tyler's stuff. He traveled out from, I was getting ready to say California because he was originally from California when I was chatting with him, but I know he moved out to Texas recently. So this was Tyler's sentient singularity theory. He's going through this. I think he said he had to put a lot of this together last minute. Nothing wrong with a QR code with the T-Rex in the center there. But basically, it's interesting in that I'm I'm gonna paraphrase because otherwise I'm gonna have to go on, and I need to actually have Tyler back on to actually share some more about some of the stuff he's working on. But if you look over here, you're like, oh look, some cellular automata. But his whole quest, so to speak, started when he was asking himself the question. It's like, all right, what happens if AI reaches the so-called singularity, artificial general, whatever the most extreme version of these large language models or whatever silica-based agents that we happen to be working with, developing, creating, maybe. I don't know. But whatever happens, it's like, all right, is it going to be a benevolent AI? Or is it going to be straight up Skynet? So is it going to be go the whole quote unquote Bender from Futurama, the quote unquote kill all humans, end quote? Is it going to be something like that, or is it going to treat us more like children? Oh, you're going to learn and stuff. Long story short is he started breaking things down into conceptualizing, putting consciousness primary is not the best way to say it. What he's conjecturing, to the best of my knowledge, is he's considering sentience is primary. Now, that sentience may be on different levels, i.e., if you're an atom, or maybe if you're, I don't know, maybe a tardigrade or a bacteria or something, your sentience is going to be a bit different than cat, dog, human, something like that. And then he works in human groups, corporations, families, stuff like that here. But his four primary perspectives, which again it resonates, and I have no idea. Like the consciousness stuff boggles my mind. I mean, like that's beyond me. For me, I'm like, is it an emergent phenomenon? Um, are these LLMs conscious? Heck, I don't even know if I'm conscious. The best I could describe myself as is I consider myself like a lame language model. It's like, all right, I get prompted, people say some words, and then occasionally I'll just kind of like say things that kind of go and just talk, and literally I feel like I'm just doing like next token, next word, who knows? I'm just filling in what seems to make sense, and I don't know. This is why people have mental breakdowns when looking into this. I had to get away, but he's looking at it from kind of the perspective of, okay, what are you going to have? You're going to have oneness, and you're going to have a separateness. So oneness, outside and inside of separateness, inside or outside of oneness, and then outside, separate from oneness, inside, separate and oneness. What exactly does that mean? I don't know. It seems to be different perspectives of the same thing. It's like in and out, within, and then exterior there. Uh, I I just look at some of the things, and a lot of times I'm a lame language model. I just look for interesting patterns and stuff. Um, it's been a while. It's been a while. So all right, I know folks have a lot more questions about other things. So let's not bloviate, shall we? So let's see, what else do we got here? All right. Okay. I'll just show this one with Tyler at his thing because we can. So there's Tyler with his sentient singularity theory. I think the thing in the background was somebody was trying to demonstrate like one of those like, yeah, smartwatch or Fitbit or something like. There's something else over here, and they were supposed to have like a big monitor, but it wasn't working, and then they were trying to. Technical difficulties are a thing, even if you're at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. That's the thing. We all have particular issues that can run up. Where are we? Okay, so which one was this? All right. I'm not sure what that is. Let's continue. Go through. Maybe we'll play the whole game of Where's Wolfram. Well, let's just actually go through some of these. All right, so this guy is over here. All right, so you can see a little bit better out the window there. You got a whole bunch of folks. Let's go to something else. So, this is a good one. Hold on. I think you guys will like this. So, speaking of, oh, where'd I put that? Closed it. Here we go. Speaking of the whole, where's Wolfram? Oh, look, I spy Stephen Wolfram, and he appears to be the one person there that actually noticed that I was pointing a camera straight at them. Oh, never mind. Dugan knows too. So, yeah, Dugan can kind of see, but Steven is perceptive. I'm slowly beginning to think he's like Master Yoda in human form. That's probably a cruel analogy, but it's perceptive, that one is, I claim. So, yeah, we had a bunch of folks here talking about different ideas. Tyler said this last night on his stream. Let me actually, let me link to Tyler's channel, because he has the, oh, that was weird. It didn't bring me back down, because I just closed it out. All right, theories of everyone. Theories of everyone. Did he? Okay. All right, I think he finally rechanged the name, because he used the 0, and I think he finally swapped to the... Okay, because that was hard for me to even look. But he talked about this probably a lot more in-depth last night, his experience. Apparently him and Stephen Wolfram were talking about monads, a Leibnizian concept from... God, when was Leibniz? 1800s or early 20th century. Gottfried Leib. Oh, God. Oh, I totally spelled it wrong. Let's check. Oh, God! I was off by hundreds of years! Okay, that's right. He was in Newton's time. Yeah, 1646 to 1716. Yeah. I was off by like 200 years. To be fair, in high school, I never finished European. Oh God, I never finished U.S. history or European history. I think we only got up through like World War I, and there was a bunch of assigned reading that I never did. And I just took the AP test, and like I got just a passing 3 or whatever. I still took the college stuff anyway because whatever. What was it? Yeah, and I was taking okay, that's why I was started taking physics beginning of my senior year. At that same first period class, I had the option to take European history with my favorite teacher. I elected to take European history with my favorite teacher just because he was my favorite teacher. I loved the way he presented things. He helped teach me within the probably 3 to 4 weeks, if even we spent on philosophy in high school, it was far better than the class I took in college. Then again, I think I had a newer professor in college. I was just kind of going for the book versus a seasoned teacher that also taught at the same university, but just history, and I just never took them there. So yeah, that's why I've technically never finished an entire actual physics class. I've taken the ancillary things. Okay, where else? Oh, let's take a look at my friend Ellie's fabrics. My friend Ellie from the Wolfram Summer School. She was in the philosophy track, I think. Now, wait. I forget. Long story short is she actually handmade these cellular automata fabrics. You look at this stuff, and those are beads, all hand done, and you pick it up, it like feels like chainmail. It's got heft to it. It's got mass to it. It's really cool. It feels good. But her idea for her summer school project was, now again, you can argue about practicality, but she's from New York, and apparently there happens to be a big thing with knockoff luxury items like handbags, this, that, and everything. It's like, this handbag is supposed to be, I don't know, $1,200, $1,500. Oh, I'll give it to you for $100, but it's actually fake. The idea was if you had very specific patterns, you would be able to verify, because if you didn't have the specific pattern, and it takes a good deal of stuff to make that pattern, you'd be able to quickly identify a knockoff, because rather than having a similar pattern, it would have a different pattern that would easily be picked up on. So that was pretty cool there. Where else are we here? Let's see. That's some other stuff there. This is a good one. So apparently, somebody actually went up to Stephen at one point when he was chatting with folks. The other thing that Tyler had mentioned about Stephen Wolfram is his observation, I'm just going to reiterate here, was the amount of time he spent with each individual that was talking. And then some folks would just kind of stand around for a while, just kind of wait for their turn, so to speak, to chat with them. And some folks he would spend like an hour just yakking with, and he generally cares. He'd have his little notebook, occasionally write down different names and stuff like that, so we would be familiar with them. But this next thing was, somebody I remember walked up to the group and said, "Steven, you got to check this out." Somebody basically did a map of like his writings. It was like a target map. So let's see. It's basically a map and nodal connections of Stephen Wolfram's writings. So they call it the Wolfram Writings Explorer, a computational exploration of Stephen Wolfram's intellectual universe. So it's got the knowledge graph, surf comp. So basically you can zoom in, look at different things. As you can see, computational universe. What are some of the big things? Okay, we've got Wolfram Physics Project, Wolfram Language, computational education, history of computational multi-way system analysis, computational reducibility, algebraic logic, computational essay, mathematical, was it in person? Complex behavior from simple rules, Turing machine universality, and the Wolfram Notebook. So basically, these are like magnitude things that he's typically talked about, and or some of his writings. I think that's basically mostly a keyword search for seeing within his writings how many times things are there to kind of see the different things in the good old-fashioned, we got a whole bunch of topics here. Let's attach a string, put a punch pin in, attach a string, put a punch pin, string, punch pin, and just go over those ideas like a complete crazy person. But now you can computationalize it, so to speak. So that was a pretty fun thing there. Let's see. Put in a punch pin. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh God, I have so many. Some of these things. I'm one of those people that will also take like a couple of pictures as well, just because I'm like, you never know. So let's go forward. Maybe one of the presentations. Okay, this is. I think you guys are gonna get a kick out of this. So, this one is. Somebody was showing basically, what? You're like, what the heck is going on with this dude? Oh my God, is he making a fashion statement? What the heck is going on? To be fair, I did take this from a computer screen because I wasn't interested enough to. I got there late, so I just wanted to mostly just yak with folks outside. But basically, he's showing. It's basically an automaton thing, where it's basically he's trying to control some physical robotic form with this. So let's go to the actual form itself, and that is this friend over here. So apparently, what was happening was he was doing things within the presentation, and this thing was starting to like move in kind and stuff. And I think it's supposed to be kind of like from your thought processes, i.e., you think, all right, let's move this limb and stuff like that. And it seems to at least generally work. And again, we've seen other things like this. I think Elon Musk and Neuralink, they're literally trying to do like the actual in-brain thing. It's like, you first. Listen, hey, if you're a consenting adult and that's what you want to do with your body, hey, I ain't the boss of you. Uh, but this is interesting because especially if this technology does develop, there are a lot of folks that are like have been injured, especially in accidents, war, horrific things where they've literally like lost use of like their limbs and everything. And if we can start having high-end prosthetics and actually give these folks a semblance of a better life. I mean, that seems to be like human augmentation right there. Like that's one of the number one things. You also have like the greater boomer generation is retiring. They're getting older. There's going to be more health issues and stuff we're going to need to address. And I think that's going to be a target. I'm almost saying target market, but it's just there's a whole lot of folks that are going to need some help. And if we can use a little bit of smart people brain power to help increase the quality of these folks' lives, oh yeah, number one, there's gonna be a market there, but it's also like if we can do a good thing, personally I don't have a problem with somebody making a bunch of money if they're making everybody's lives better. And again, that's a personal opinion people can disagree with. Uh that's a great question. Can they regrow teeth? I almost think that they have. I know they did that, and again, the morality of attempting to play God aside, I'm pretty sure they've regrown ears on mice. I'm not sure like the full sensory thing. I feel like they did something like that. Um, I don't know. I also part of me, as soon as I start thinking about that, for some reason my mind just goes to Resident Evil and something about Tyrant and terrible potential things coming out of Raccoon City and everything like that. And good question. I don't know. That would be a big thing. Especially I've had friends that have lost teeth. Heck, I've had some stuff busted, and they're literally like, let's just copy the other one. We'll super glue it or ultra glue or whatever it on. And sometimes they had to do it a couple of times. That actually would be a big thing. Like, they target the particular tooth? I don't. You have to do a whole. That actually is a good question because that would be huge. If you could actually just literally regrow a person's tooth and you could plop that in, I have no idea how that would work, but I'm thinking that conceptually it might be possible. And then my mind jumps to Futurama and something with the professor like slathering himself with a whole bunch of stem cells and looking like, I don't know, 100 years younger or something. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. The new Jurassic World movie. Listen, man, whatever it is, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I will. I mean, I love dinosaurs, so it's just kind of guilty pleasure if it's for me. I'm like, maybe it's just me personally. After watching Avatar back in like what was it 2010, 2013, I'm like, for me, I'm like, I just go in assuming the movie's gonna be terrible, so I'm not disappointed. Uh, maybe that's just a me problem. Okay, so let's take a little look at the old Boston skyline here. We got, excuse me. Let's go through. So while we were over there, so yeah, no, so I chatted with a number of folks. So I caught up with Dugan, Phileas. There were a bunch of folks from Wolfram there. I did eventually find out. Let's just share this little Boston skyline first. So yeah, we can see. I think that's Prudential Tower. One of those guys. I forget. Uh, could just be wrong. Is that I'm terrible, but as Boston or New York, there's always going to be some giant crane working on something that uh, can be unnerving at times if you're. I don't know. But, let's get to my question. question and the answer, because at one point, where was it? I had come across. Where was it? It was around Tyler. Here we go. All right. The random picture of the cup. Okay, so long story short is okay. I see this name. Ecolapato. Eco Ecolapato. I see this name and I'm like, wait a second. I remember that name from like Twitter or some social media, and I'm looking, I'm like, this person follows me. I'm like, who the heck is this? And of course, their stuff is here, but they were not. They were out wandering about, and eventually, I think I asked, I think it was maybe Tyler or maybe Ellie. Somebody had said, I'm like, I have no idea who this person is, and they're like, that's Addy. I'm like, oh. Oh, he was the original person that brought me down to the hacker house and stuff anyway. I had no idea who it was. And like, I'm like, this person has actually been following me for like a little while. And I'm like, I have no idea who they are. And all of a sudden they're here. I'm trying to find out who it was. And I'm like, it was Addy. He was busy because he was helping to organize a whole event. And he actually ran the interview with Steven that night. But basically, he was out like running to like the store to grab a whole bunch of waters and cokes and stuff like that, different beverages, so people would be able to be hydrated because hydration is important, right? So yeah, spoiler: Ekola Boto was Addy. Now you're like, hold on, I hit the wrong thing. Now you're probably like, who the heck is that? I don't know this person. It's like Stephen Wolfram. All right, I've heard of that dude. Kurt Jaimungles. Oh, I've heard of Kurt. That's let's see. It was actually interesting because excuse me. I was over by Tyler's stuff and we're just yakking and catching up and stuff. And all of a sudden, just from the corner, all of a sudden, Kurt walks right up behind Tyler while he's talking to me. I'm like, hello, sir. How we doing? So we caught up. I guess he had interviewed Steven. That interview should be coming up shortly. And they had just rode over together because Steven was coming down, save a guy an Uber ride. Steven is a driver, and yeah, he even risks the whole streets of Boston too. So he's he's up on a number of different things, which is interesting. Let's see. Stay hydrated, friends. It's very, very important. Where are we? All right, so that was a Leibniz thing. Oh, so yeah, when I was there with Tyler, uh, Kurt comes up and we start chatting. Eventually, I sit down with him, and he was chatting with some other. I think it was a game designer from Toronto. They made the oh god, I forget what it was. It's literally just the battle sword simulator game where like I don't know, like you're a Viking or something, and just you go and just hack things to pieces with a longsword in the game. And it's like supposed to be a very. He's like, I just enjoyed the game, so I made it, and some bunch of people liked it. We were chatting with him, and then we introduced a few other folks that were within the greater Wolfram sphere, and they were talking about different experiences. And I won't get into the details because it was not supposed to be recorded or a reiterated conversation. So it's hey, trust is the hardest thing to earn. It's the easiest thing to burn. So I talk too much. I realize this. Occasionally, I just shut my mouth. Let's no more. No comment to that. We will just continue on. Okay. So I said a whole bunch of things, and I'm like, all right, well, who is Addy? So let's get to who is Addy. All right, so we had I moved that one over, right? Oh, wait, derp. Ah, the bigger pile. I was only looking through the things that I had done before. Okay. So, all right. Let's go to the picture. All right. So, all right. So, over here. Okay. I'm also not one. It's if you take a photo, and it's not a great photo, I I may choose not to share it just because just be respectful. It's but Addie is the gentleman next to Steven. This one. So we can see over here we got Steven, Addie. This is the gentleman that first introduced me to the hacker house. He brought us over and everything. And he apparently actually was one of the main coordinators over here, and he's associated with Wolfram and everything too. So yeah, no, it's really great to catch. Oh, and apparently they have these cool T-shirts here. Human Augmentation Summit. You can see over there they got that cool little logo, all that jazz. Um, and again, they're leveraging the tools that they have. Oh, hey, look, some AI stuff. Ooh, look, multiple Stevens. Kind of reminds me of a little old Alfred Hitchcock thing there. Why is that the case? Multiple light sources, I reckon. Ah. Okay, of everything in the photo, I'm just looking at the shadows there. Kind of looks like a camera stand. Okay, thought it was a bicycle for a second. Let's find some other cool photos. So, there were prizes. So they gave out. I wasn't entered because I never got my badge and entered. They were giving out a whole bunch. These were processors. I think maybe they were GPUs or something for people to do cool stuff. So these are a lot of the organizers. Let's see, we got Addie over there. We got. Is this? I'm trying to think if that was the gentleman that made that crazy was it Tinder combined with Candy Crush? And then oh god, I forget the ladies' names. They're sisters, but they're two of the core creators of this whole augmentation lab promotion, and I totally forget the other people. I think. See, I mostly just know these people just because they were at the hacker house, and I at least recognize them because I listened to some of their presentations. Okay, so where's some other cool things here? Maybe in Steven's interview a little bit. What's there? Okay, we can show this one. So, and again, a lot of stuff from Steven's presentation. This is one of the reasons why he just updates things on his blog, because it's like people have a question, he just goes right to his blog to well, I've thought about this. I've composed this into a computational essay here, and again, anything you have here, you just go to this one here. This is again writings.stephenwolfram.com. The foundations of biological evolution. More results and more surprises. So basically, you're starting off with this one cell here, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, then you do this. So it's basically a very basic rule, and as you can see, eventually, you start to get some much more complex systems, so to speak, and the evolution there. So we'll just read this real quick. I don't think I actually did a reading of this essay. And yes, one can't help but be struck by how lifelike this all looks, both in the complexity of these patterns and in their diversity. But what is ultimately responsible for what we're seeing, it's long been a core question about biological evolution. Are the forms it produces the result of careful sculpting by the environment and by the fitness functions it implies, or are their most important features somehow instead a consequence of something more intrinsic and fundamental that doesn't depend on details of fitness functions? Let's see. So basically everything here, you can actually just click on. Actually, let's just go to the thing. Foundations of biological evolution. So let's just do that. All right. So Wolfram Foundations of biological evolution. All right. All right. Yeah. Boom. Let's see. We just go right there. So basically, we've got pictures and stuff, and then we just go down to this here. Again, click, copy the code. Let's go to... oh no, my accounts. I know. Is it going to work? It's just going to lag. All right. Don't mind me. Yes. Most of my things are a Wolfram Alpha extension. I drove some of the folks at the summer school crazy. They're trying to do something. They want to do a calculation on like my computer. It's like, oh, open up a notebook. It's like, why is this a Wolfram Alpha notebook? How does this work? Open up a normal notebook. It's like, oh, I can do this. And people are like, oh my god, what are you doing? It's like, listen, this is how I learned this stuff. And to be fair, a lot of times I just use the website itself tends to be faster for the things that I do because I'm just looking for pattern matching, usually within units and stuff. And if you're doing it within a notebook environment, so to speak, you can do it. Just requires like an extra click or so, and sometimes it doesn't give all the results that you might get on the website because I'm sure that's a user error that I can adjust. But so we just go to a new notebook. Boom. I hit the thing, and oh, did it do it? Let's see. All right, so it's running. To be fair, I am running this in the cloud while I'm streaming. I have how many steps is this model? Is it like 20? Occasionally, some of these things actually might be a computational experiment that Steven did, and maybe he left his computer running for a while. Last time I checked, he also has 168 cores in his computer system, unless he's upgraded again in the past couple of years, which wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so it's running. So long story short is, it might take a while, but pretty much everything here, you can just click. You can play around with. You can adjust. Yeah. Let's see. DJ, no, listen, DJ. Listen, I feel so I don't like when I went to like the Wolfram summer school. I like literally like they do like little introductions about yourself. It's like I am so out of my element. I am not qualified to be here at all. Just being around and just listening to like such smart people and stuff. I think one of the things I'm just gonna give you an old adage. I think this is from Professor Feynman. I'm sure other people have said this. If you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Why? Because very often you want to be around smart people so you can learn more things. And a lot of this, I literally just a dude on the internet, started immersing myself in these things. Extremely lucky, extremely blessed in my life. And who knows, maybe I'll actually be able to contribute something to humanity. I mean, isn't that usually the goal and everything? Hey, what's going on, Crypto? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. No, we're just, pardon me. We're just discussing MIT's Human Augmentation Lab. Long story short, it was basically just a gathering, a meeting, a bunch of different folks and everything, often working on human-related augmentation things, as we had talked about a little bit earlier. They give you the opportunity if you want to, like, rent a booth, you pay like extra $60, you can present your work and stuff there. I didn't have anything human-related, so to speak, so I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. And then I ran into Tyler Goldstein. He was doing sentient singularity theory. My friend Ellie, she was selling her, or not selling, but she was displaying her computational or cellular automata-based fabrics, which were like chainmail and stuff. And let me go back to my little photo vault. What are some other things that we got here? Is anything actually interesting? Maybe this guy. Sorry, I'm just going back and forth, sharing different stuff and things there. So let's see. Window. Yeah. So just capture stuff from different angle. Yeah, I just sit back there. You just listen to folks. So okay, this is where they were talking about. And again, this people have different thoughts on this. This was the two-state, three-color Turing machine. So basically, when Stephen was working on a new kind of science, he had come across a candidate which he believed could potentially be Turing complete, so to speak. Okay, or it would follow the criteria of that. Okay, now there is some controversy I'm going to address. Okay, the controversy is within the proof that was it Michael I forget what it was, but it was Michael something from the UK. He had looked into this, and apparently it took going back and forth with like Wolfram Research for like several months to go through to see if the proof actually was there. And it was supposed to be a complicated thing because it's like, all right, how do we do this? But apparently, at least according to Stephen Wolfram, it fits the criteria of being the minimum Turing machine, a two-state, three-color Turing machine, which may or may not have gotten my attention for other related reasons. And again, those are more personal, and I'm very biased. Now, the controversy with this, and again, Stephen basically put up like $25,000, and within 6 months, he got a response. But basically, a lot of other mathematical and computational folks are like, well, it's not Turing complete because the machine resets. Okay. The Wolfram argument, to my knowledge, was that the way this machine ends up getting parameterized by, I believe, the way Michael had it set up, was that it executes a program, and then within its programming, it resets, updates its compiler, I believe. And again, I'm not a computer scientist, so somebody else would know better than me. But essentially, it does reset. However, it must reset. It is literally within its parameterization that you don't physically reset it. It is a built-in reset, and that's where the controversy comes in, because after it resets and comes back, then the machine is Turing complete. And I'm just being full disclosure there, because a lot of times it's like, well, you say something like, if I hear somebody, very often it's like, all right, let me just do a quick search on that, maybe browse Wikipedia, just do a real cursory search and see if it at least kind of makes sense to me. And if all of a sudden you say, oh, some dude saying, oh, this is a Turing complete machine, 3 Turing machines complete, you're going to find things saying, this is not complete, no, this is just Wolfram's opinion. And it's like, okay, it's like, he's wrong on things. He can totally be wrong. He's got a pretty good track record. So, I mean, again, take it for what it's will. I'm not a computer scientist. Oh God, I've been going for over an hour, so I should probably hustle up a little bit. Schrodinger's intellect. Here, there. Who knows? Yeah, well, here's the thing. Trying to understand this stuff. That's the thing. Being able to think clearly about something, being able to gather your own thoughts is very important. Now, I would say, well, that's important. And again, this is not advice to anybody. This is just my personal experience. I find time being able to think to yourself, by yourself, with your own thoughts is very important. In my opinion, we're also human beings, we're social creatures. And again, everybody's different. Some folks are more introverted, and occasionally you pick and choose where you have your interactions. Other folks like me are just complete crazy people, and the more folks that are out there energizing and doing stuff energizes me more, and then I stay out far too late and sleeping far too late as well, and make poor decisions. But being able to discuss ideas and just pitch them back and forth. And very often it's like somebody points out, it's like, well, here's a fatal flaw. And then sometimes like, no, you ruined my fun time thinking that that was something. But it's like, all right, well, if somebody doesn't point out a fatal flaw and you keep spending more and more time on it, when wouldn't you want to know that there is a fatal flaw rather than continue to do something and then perhaps somebody, especially if you're trying to develop something like a tower and one of those foundational blocks is a little shaky, you're going to want to correct that base foundation. Because as long as you have a strong foundation, you can build things up slowly. Maybe all of a sudden you're going to get massive investment. All of a sudden somebody's like, oh my God, this makes sense. This meshes with my stuff. Let's fill it up. Let's finish building this great big tower of knowledge. Might that happen? Maybe. But a lot of times there's a lot of work. That's why one of the things I found, and again, I love collaboration. I love talking about this stuff all the time. The term shut up and calculate, quote unquote, I'm not a big fan of that. I like to calculate and collaborate. However, I think there could be an interpretation of that I think very often it was used to get people to stop asking questions about weird quantum phenomena, so to speak. Just calculate, just calculate. Sometimes when I actually just sit down and it's like, I have a question. Let me explore. Let me do the calculations. To be fair, that's usually probably where I've actually made potential progress. Actually working on something rather than yakking the whole time. I'm not saying you don't get ideas, because a lot of times, like even this, whatever this summer school project is, it's like, I asked some questions, I got assigned homework. I took the advice, I did the homework, and I look, I'm like, oh, okay, this seems to resemble those things. What if I assume it's true? Okay, so it replicates things within one magnitude. Okay, I just finish off these things where even whatever that zeta term, that the maximally entangled Wolfram right there. So basically, you've got, hold on, that little zeta over there in a double covered Stephen Wolfram, a maximally entangled observer. It says, I'm just following what they said there. And that zeta is just equal to elementary energy divided by elementary time. Okay, and it equals the Planck power, Y. Because the elementary units, at least within the current formulation that I've seen, they're based off of Planck units with a scaling factor. Now, if you're doing the Planck energy scaled divided by the Planck time scaled, it's, if the scaling factor is the same, the relationship between those things is going to be the same magnitude. So you just have a much smaller quantum energy thing, a much smaller quantum time thing. It's going to give you the same ginormous Planck power. And what is the Planck power? We can end with this, because this is a fascinating thing that I do need to add to my essay. Because I'm occasionally doing the old whistle unintentionally. So what's the Planck power? Planck power is, sorry, let me share the dang thing. All right. Speed of light to the fifth over the Newtonian gravitation. Okay, it's this ginormous number of watts. 10 to the 52 watts. Okay. What does that even mean? Okay, a watt is energy per second. Okay. So, if this is per second, well, what's the energy output for that second? So, right now it's the energy divided by seconds. So let's just multiply it by 1 second. Okay. So basically, 10 to the 52 joules of energy. Basically, it's about 10 to the fifth relativistic mass energy equivalent of a solar mass. Wait. 10 to the 5 solar masses per second. That's 10, 100,000, 10. It's 100,000 solar masses per second of energy output. To put that in their perspective, Okay. So, gonna give us, okay, so its relativistic mass is 10 to the 35 kilograms per second. Okay. So let's hypothetically do mass of Sagittarius A star. Okay. So basically that's what we believe to be the supermassive black hole within the center of our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy. Okay. It's about 4 million solar masses, according to our best scientific estimates right now. Okay. That's why that's ridiculous. But if you have something outputting 200,000 solar masses per second, that's within about a magnitude or so, aka a maximally entangled observer would output the mass energy of Sagittarius A star in about 21 seconds. What in God's name could that possibly be? Now again, that's a maximally entangled observer, and okay. What is this? The Planck power is simply, okay. Your Planck units start with the Planck mass. Planck mass, okay. Got the Planck mass. All right. We want to convert it to energy. We do our c squared. Thank you, Einstein. Okay. So we've got this. It's going to give us the Planck energy. All right. So it's about the energy in a typical lightning bolt. All right. So what happens if you put out a Planck energy per Planck second, aka Planck time? So you divide by the Planck time. So we're going to go from the Planck energy to the Planck power. Because that's what it says. All it is these are the units right here, and this is probably one of the most useful things of Wolfram Alpha, especially if you're not familiar with like dimensional analysis or whatnot. Basically, if you're a noob like me, it gives you training wheels or guardrails, so to speak. So energy would just be mass, length. Basically, if these are positive or non-negative, it just means it's in the numerator. Time, it's got that negative sign, so it just means the denominator. The only difference is, see, we've got mass, length squared, time squared, aka length divided by time is speed. Hence, if you're doing the minimum length divided by the minimum time, you're going to get the maximum speed. All right, that's our energy. All we're doing is adding a third derivative to the denominator, which I'm sure that's mathematically blasphemy the way I used it there. It just means there's another Planck time in the denominator. So, and then when you multiply this, basically it's expressed in seconds. So it's basically just using 1 second of Planck times to output this much power. So for every Planck times outputting Planck energy, over the 10 to like the 44 increments or Planck seconds within 1 second. That's why it's such a ginormous thing. My base response is if you're going to try to connect something that powerful or putting out like a supermassive black hole's worth of energy in 21 seconds, the only thing within standard physics that I could even consider would be like a white hole. We've never observed a white hole as far as I know. So is that actually a thing, or is that just something that pops out from the Schwarzschild solutions? I mean, apparently black holes seem to be a thing. But that would insinuate that there at least exists somewhere something putting out the Planck power. Now, again, I'm very biased on this. I have potential thoughts. That is conjectured some things that I'm just playing out the natural course of events. What if this was a case? Again, the chances of that actually being what it is, almost certainly it must not be. But on the small chance maybe there is some there, might explain a lot. And again, I don't have to say, oh, it's going to be some field configuration, a hyperbolic figure eight not being inverted into a hypersphere mag. Maybe that's the case. But if I just go from like the math there and like the Wolfram stuff, I'm like, all right, If you're saying that there exists a maximally entangled observer, that sounds like maybe it's a field configuration. What if the reason why things seem to be, I don't know, spreading away from each other is maybe at the quote unquote center, whatever that may or may not mean, there was a white hole putting out the Planck power per second. Does that help? Does that hurt? I don't have the answer. But, I mean, I would actually ask. I mean, this is the thing. LLMs are fun, but just be careful. Be careful if you're going to use it because very often they want to make you happy. How does it make you happy? It says things that you want to hear, just like pretty much anything else with an algorithm. It's like, we want engagement. We want you to spend your time here. So just keep that in mind. And also, I did a stream yesterday on, I think it's falsification, or it's like, I'll have people send me things. I know, like Stephen Wolfram, Kurt Jaimungles, a bunch of folks. They'll get sent things all the time, and some things there might be some golden ideas. The problem is, if somebody just sends you like, I don't know, like a 22-page chat log with Chat GPT, it's like, could you summarize this? Or one of the great things you could do is, okay, it laid out these things. Please falsify everything we just discussed. Because yesterday I just give it a prompt. I'm like, create a novel theory that unites general relativity and quantum mechanics. It's like, all right, let's call this the holographic causal lattice formulation or something like that. And it gives all these things, it says these things, and it sounds kind of good. It offers to develop equations and stuff. So I'm like, all right, before we get there, I'm like, please falsify everything we just covered. And it basically kind of, so to speak, took the piss out of the entire thing. It's like, no, this doesn't cover here, this doesn't cover here. So it's like, all right, if you believe you have something cool, can it survive review? And if you developed it with a large language model, it's like, can it survive scrutiny from the large language model that you helped develop it with? To be fair, if there is something there, maybe the thing is, I think a lot of folks, and Stephen did kind of cover this in his blog post from like a week or so ago. Some folks are like, they're trying to like solve physics or prove Einstein wrong. It's like, maybe there are folks out there that have done this. That could totally be a possibility. I don't know everything that everybody has ever done. I'm just a dude. But perhaps rather than looking to solve everything, it's like maybe just look into a question. Tyler was looking into what happens if AI becomes sentient. Is it going to be like Skynet? Is it going to be good? I know Bill Manuel from Gravity for the Masses, he's like, well, can you do anything useful with like a single degree of freedom? And he kind of went into the whole potential entanglement and then basically went through, I looked at some of the stuff. I'm like, all right, there seems to be a 1 over log 4 relationship between, what is it, like the Landauer limit, the ability to, the minimum energy needed to swip one bit and like the size of a black hole. Now, I have no idea if that's just an obvious thing that nobody else has noticed. I just did, again, quick cursory search. I didn't see other people talking about it. But it's interesting where a lot of times formulating the proper question can make a huge difference. It also, if you're trying to solve for quote unquote everything, there's a lot more chances with errors where it's like, here's something somebody hasn't looked at. Maybe look at this. Maybe people don't care as much. Maybe it's not going to get as much clickbait clicks as Einstein proven wrong or something like that. You just add Einstein in the title. Of course, you're going to get a bunch more views. But I really think we're at the precipice where there's going to be some really amazing stuff coming. People are working on interesting, novel things. And I think it's going to be really cool. And I think a lot of the issues we have, we've kind of, so to speak, scienced our way into. I claim we can science our way out. Now, again, maybe I'm just an optimist here. Maybe I'm just some privileged dude and I totally am privileged. I'm not going to hide that. That is speaking very positive things. It's like, well, for those that have been blessed, you should try to help others, at least try to do the best we can. And again, realize we're going to fall short because we're all human beings. It's like we're perfectly imperfect creatures. So, okay, I realize I'm just bloviating that. I'm not even talking anything about the Human Augmentation Lab. Long story short, it was a good time. There was a lot of interesting folks there doing interesting things. Oh, let me show these last two photos. This should be good. Okay, so the last two photos that we'll wrap up on is I think this guy. All right. So, oh, hold on. Let's get one with Steven smiling. It's the other one. So terrible. There we go. That looks better. All right. So, yeah, we got Addie, we got Steven, and oh, God, I forget everyone else's name. Oh, God, I'm so terrible. But these were like the main people around, and again, a special guest Steven over there. Had a good time, yacked, and again, we yacked until, God, probably got almost like 1 o'clock in the morning or so. A typical Steven night out, to where if there's folks around, the conversations is good. The conversations are good. Stayed till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, and then the very last one, which I wanted to share, was I just thought this was kind of cool because we've got let me go over here. We got a Stephen Wolfram, Wild Stephen Wolfram. We've got a Tyler Goldstein over here, and they're just back to back, just having chats with folks about completely different topics. And I sent this to him, and I just thought it was kind of cool. I'm like, they're both engaged in their own topics. They have their own perspectives, and they're literally just kind of back to back doing something there. I thought it was neat, so that's why I'm sharing it. But yeah, no, it was a good time. No, here's the thing. I grew up watching G.I. Joe, or at least some of it, and it's like I learned that knowing is half the battle. I also have ran into, what was it, a politician that at one point, after chatting with him, he's like, half of life is just showing up. So I'm like, wait a second. Knowing is half the battle, and the other half is just showing up. If you show up and know what's going on, maybe we can make progress. So that's my opinion on that. But other than that, hey, peace out, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the weekend. I think there's going to be a whole lot of interesting stuff coming down the pipeline soon, and probably some opportunities for some of y'all out there. So other than that, peace out. We'll catch you next time.